Welcome to another episode of Addiction Uncovered. I'm Jill, your host, and today I'm joined by Roland. Roland grew up in North Omaha and was surrounded by drugs and chaos in his childhood. And this led to a lack of direction and multiple run-ins with police. Becoming a father at age 30 changed everything, and he became dedicated to breaking that cycle. He's been sober now for 15 years and a content creator to show people that recovery is possible. So welcome to the show, Roland.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So tell us how your struggle with addiction started.
Well, I mean, I guess for me, it wasn't about drugs in the beginning. I would say for me, it was risk-taking, behaviors I knew would get me in trouble. The thought of getting away with it. I remember I remember drinking alcohol when I was probably 6 or 7. The great uncles would have their get-togethers at grandma's house and would have beer. And I remember acquiring like a taste for alcohol, well, beer, I remember that. And then, so I guess that was probably, my first taste of alcoholism, addiction, whatever you want to call it, like 6 or 7. And so then, for me, I feel like it was like a graduation or, maybe the next level, the grade level, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, we go up to, college. But, so I guess second grade would have been, taking the cigarette butts out of the ashtrays and smoking those and getting away with those. And then, roaches, which, little small marijuana, cigarettes. And so from there, I think I just kind of graduated to more and more. And, I can't say that, it was a specific time that my, addiction started. Like first, thoughts would be probably the alcohol and liking it, and wanting to always volunteer to throw away the cans of beer, which I knew that they had left some in.
Well, it kind of speaks to, you mentioned when you were telling me a little bit more about your story before we came on, about just the childhood experience that you have and the exposure that you had when you were growing up too. So it was there, it was available, it was around you all the time. That probably contributed to it. Oh yeah, because it was there. It was what I knew. It was, some people grow up, watching mom and dad, go to work, or, watching, dad go to work, mom take care of the home, stuff like that. Mine was watching different people come in and out of the house, and, they were, bikers and stuff like that, because that was the crowd that my mother ran with, was the bikers. And, so it was normal, like all the chaos that I saw, the violence and, the sexual stuff too, it was normal. I didn't know anything different. And, I just kind of went with it. Mm-hmm. It really normalized it throughout your childhood.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then, so that just, you kind of said it gradually progressed then over time. When do you think, what did that look like in high school or when you were out of high school? How did it progress?
I would say by the time I was 14, rules were optional. School was optional. Smoking weed was not optional at that point. Like I just had to smoke like all the time. And then, taking risks, stealing cars, being put on probation, failing probation, because I didn't care. I was in and out of the youth center. I got sent to, different, facilities for children. Back then it was Nova, there was Kearney, there was Geneva, it was for girls, but there was a 30-day evaluation side for boys. So I went there. Eventually I was in Boys Town. I was there for a year. Like Boys Town's great. I wouldn't say anything bad about it. For me, I didn't follow through with their program, if you want to call it that, because I was there for a year and then I got terminated. But I look back at that time and I had really good grades. I was, with the structure and the support and the love that I was shown, I did really well. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't used to that because I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know what love looked like because, Mom would beat me. There were times where there wasn't food in the house. I was lucky enough that I had an older brother and older sister. My older sister, I don't know if you've ever seen the show. It's the show with all the kids and then the dad who's like
Shameless.
Shameless.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, the show Shameless. Okay, my sister was Fiona. She took care of us. So there was 3 younger kids. My sister Annie and my brother John were the older ones, and then the younger ones, myself, my brother, and my sister, were just kind of left there to fend for ourselves. But my sister would kind of, check up on us and make sure that we were doing okay, make sure we had stuff like that. So I knew that there was love. I had aunts and uncles that loved us, but the immediate family, like the mom, no dad. Dad took off, but the mom's boyfriends and stuff, bad people. Mom, she loved me in her own way, the way that she knew how, I guess you could say, right. Which she, had the tools that she had. So
it's that intergenerational trauma, really.
Oh, 100%.
She's parenting maybe the way that she had experienced and didn't know any different, or not excusing it, but just
she
saying
had
if
trauma.
That's what, yeah.
She had trauma. I wouldn't, my grandma was also there. She was amazing. But my grandfather, he had died. I think he was kind of a rough around the edges type of guy, alcoholic. I want to say, I don't know 100% because I didn't know him. There was, my grandma had a moving company, so there was always like these rough men around too that were the furniture movers, and they were great with the customers, but as soon as it was quitting time, they were all drinking and smoking, and that's just what I learned. It was what I learned. It was normal. Boys Town, I guess, for me was like the first glimpse of like, hey, I don't have to, continue being this person, but it didn't really stick because I still had some more experimentation to do, some more, living life more.
Well, when you're in an environment like that, with a space like that, you do have that structure and you have that stability and that consistency, which helps with the
consistency.
Kids. The hard part is when you're not there anymore. How do you continue it if you don't have that family support at home to keep it going, or you don't have the life skills to be on your own? It's hard.
Yeah. Well, so when I got terminated, I went and lived with my my aunt in Council Bluffs, and I think I spent my junior year there, but she had rules.
Oh, what was that like?
Well,
different.
I resented the rules, so I think I had started to resent her because of the rules. And then I was able to, I got a job when I was with her. I was able to save up enough money. I bought my first car, which was a 77 Vega.
Nice.
Yeah, well, then I was irresponsible, and I drove it like a, dumb kid teenager. And then I had another car that I bought, that I traded and bought. It was a Ford Taurus station wagon. And so eventually where I'm getting with this was I took the station wagon and I drove to Florida on my own. I was 16 years old. I was just like, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving. That was my first, experience of being out on the road and getting away. And I loved it. It was fun. I found drugs the whole way that I, needed to. So I did. And because that's the thing is when we're in that lifestyle, when we're in that energy, we find it, or it finds us, you know, because that's what we're putting out and that's what we're attracting.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it makes it hard to escape it because that's just the energy you're putting out there.
Until you decide you want something different.
Yeah. All right. So in Florida, how did your addiction progress then at that point?
Well, it wasn't, you know, I didn't really stay too much in Florida because, you know, I was 16 years old, didn't have anything, wasn't prepared to like go get a job or live on the streets or anything like that. So I just kind of came back to Omaha, went back to my mom's house because, you know, there's no rules, no structure, no this or that. And my mom smoked, you know, she smoked weed with me. She, you know, she was able to, you know, help my, you know, addiction. And, so, you know, and then I found meth and that was there, enjoyed that, but was always scared of it because my mom was, like, you know, she was really addicted to it. You know, she was an IV drug user. She died in 2020, May 9th, 2020. There's no, it's not really on her death certificate, but from what we know is that she had just done some meth and had, you know, her heart, it was a heart attack, you know. And that's, you know, so with that, just, I always knew that meth was really good, or it had like a really good like hold, and I didn't want that hold. I was scared of it. You know, I did it a bunch, but I was always scared of it. And so I kind of, you know, stayed away from that part. You know, smoked crack cocaine, you know, snorted crack cocaine, like eventually was selling drugs, did that for a while. You know, I just really kind of, whatever I could do that was dangerous and that, you know, risked my freedom or risked my life, I was down to do it. You know, I hopped trains all over the country, hitchhiked, spent, you know, weeks in the woods with hippies at these rainbow gatherings. You know, it was all, you know, it was all just searching for something, you know, searching.
Any idea what you're...
I'm kind of all over there.
No,
so
this is great.
Yeah.
I just wonder, any idea what you were searching for at that time, now that you're in a place where you are looking back? Any idea?
Oh. Dopamine rush.
Ah.
Just, you know, release the dopamines. Maybe, you know, to numb the things, you know, the trauma that happened as a kid, you know, the not feeling loved, the not having the food, you know, the being left with people that we shouldn't have been left with, the trauma, you know, wanting to release that, wanting to numb that, not knowing how to, you know, not knowing how to get it, you know, out of my life, or, you know, to forgive that part of my life, I guess.
It's really a miracle that you survived all of that. There were probably so many times during that chase that it could have gone a totally different way.
100%. I mean, you know, when I was 14, I stole a car and I drove it down the interstate, headed towards Denver because I wanted to see the mountains. I just, whatever reason, and not thinking, oh, well, this car might need gas after so many miles, but so I'm
You're
driving.
14. What do you know?
Yeah, no. So I'm driving and, you know, I know that, you know, like there's a semi and I'm like playing chicken almost with the semi to see how close I can get to it to like make him swerve. But that semi wasn't going to swerve, you know. There was, you know, times that I remember being on motorcycles and, you know, going as fast as I can and then, you know, not really thinking about the consequences. And there was one time where I got kind of pushed onto the side of the in the gravel and not really knowing how to control the bike, but for some miracle I controlled it. It just your brain doesn't work that, I mean, my brain wasn't working that quickly, but my instincts were working, and I'm alive. So yeah.
You obviously had more purpose.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I look back at the fights that I got in, it was chasing something, like a lot of times people in recovery and meetings, I go to meetings, I do 12-step meetings, I go to NA. That's just where I found my recovery. I don't tell people that they need to go to NA. I don't tell people they need to go to AA. What I share is that you need to find recovery, whatever that means to you. But in my meetings, people talk about the disease wanting us to die. Like, the disease is this other entity separate from us that is like wanting us to die. And I mean, it sometimes, I can see how it would feel like that. But I think for me, it was just I was chasing something, and my mind told me that it was okay. I was going to live forever. It doesn't matter. Do it. Have fun. Mm-hmm.
So then fast forward, because now the risk taking, it's a higher risk, right? Because you have this child to take care of, or becoming a father, right?
The risks look different.
They do, right?
Yeah.
So not to skip over the good parts, the good parts of where did that turning point happen where you decided, or was there a deciding point where you thought, okay, this is enough. I'm done with this. I need to do something different. What did that look like?
Well, for me, that was, it was like in October, because I believe my son would have been close to 18 months. Was it? No, he let's see. He was probably 4 months, but whatever it was, I'm not sure. He was a baby. He wouldn't go to sleep unless I put him in a car and took him for a ride. At this point, I'm still smoking weed. I'm still drinking alcohol, but I got him to sleep. I had a friend come over, and we smoked. We were outside on the patio. We smoked a blunt, and I was being selfish, and just all I cared about was feeding my addiction. And then I'm like, oh no, I should go check on my son. I go back to the car. He's crying and screaming, and he's sweating, and I'm like, wow. This is who you are, Roland. And it hurt, because I don't want to be like those people that were in my childhood. I don't want my kids to see that. I don't want them to think that, drugs are more important than they are, because it's not. My kids are precious. They're, I'm very grateful that I get to be a father, and that I get to have 4 little people that look up to me and call me dad. And the only thing I could do at the time was, pray that I could stop. I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to keep repeating the cycle. Mm-hmm. It didn't work right away, but that was the point where I decided that I didn't want to continue that life. And so I went to, if you want the real quick little gritty part, I decided that, I need to go to treatment, because that's what I've seen other addicts and alcoholics do. Right. I saw other addicts in my family, other alcoholics, decide, hey, let's go to treatment. So I went to the first treatment. It was the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation, which great program, but again, too many rules. Resentments were there. I think I was there 2 days, and I'm like, I'm not like these people. I got to go, because it was, I didn't give them a chance to show me that we were the same. So then I went to another place, which is, I think it's called Centerpoint now, but at the time it was called Catholic Charities Campus for Hope. So I went there, and I think think I was there probably 21 days, but I was just like them. I was just like the other clients there. And then I got kicked out because my disease didn't want me there. You know, that you know, separate entity that was living inside of me. It didn't want me there. You know, I was arguing with other clients, and I was like, hey, let's fight. Let's do it. Whatever. And so I was a danger to them. I was a danger to the other clients, so I got kicked out. So I was like, I'm going to show them. I'll show them. So I went and bought a bottle, and I went and bought some, you know, some weed. And I'm sitting there, and I'm getting high, and I'm drinking, and I'm playing dice. And I'm like, I'm not showing them anything. This is what they want from us, is to keep relapsing, to keep using. And so, you know, I'll tell you this, I had to finish the weed and I had to finish the alcohol, because that's, you know, moderation was my problem. I didn't figure that out till later, but I had to finish it. So after that, I showed him. But, you know, 6 months I was in recovery, clean, not using. Halloween happened. I used again because I had a fuck it moment. And I talk about, you know, they're dangerous. You know, we let one thought enter our mind and consume us, and it's, fuck it, what am I doing this for?
Well, and I think we look for that one, we expect that there's this like one turning point where we say, okay, well, we're done now. And we just make the decision and we just stop doing it, right? Yeah. If it was that easy, then we would all just do that. But it's every day you fight that battle. You make the decision. You have to fight those thoughts, right? So those fuck it moments, you have those. And then what protective measures do you have in place to keep you safe during those times? It's a daily, sometimes minute by minute battle. It's not this, for some, it's not that one moment turning point, everything falls into place. It doesn't look like that.
Not for everybody.
Yeah. So, I mean, I appreciate being honest about those relapses, and that, you know, something that you continued to struggle with is kind of those fuck it moments and not really seeing clearly or keeping that focus, right? So then tell us what you kind of talked about, like being relatable, like finding the people that were in the treatment that you were like, that's like me, or that's not like me, like doing that comparisons. Like how important do you think that is for people to find that relatability?
I mean, it is very important. But in the beginning, we are looking at ourselves like we're not like them, I want to say, maybe, because I think in the beginning I just didn't want to be like them, you know?
Yeah, like justification or protecting yourself. I'm not that bad, or they don't get it, like that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and as a kid growing up and, you know, being around the people that I was just like at this point, and knowing that I don't want my kids and I don't want my future to look like that, I had, you know, I wasn't like that, if that makes sense. So it was, you know, it was when I found out, or not when I found out, but when I accepted the fact that I was just like these people, and that they love me just because of me, that was when that was it. Like, I found my people, and, you know, I was sold. I drank the Kool-Aid, which is funny, you know, because I bought it that I didn't have to get high anymore. I didn't have to escape. I did struggle with cigarettes, was able to quit that. And then I struggled with vaping, you know, and that's like a hard one, because, you know, people do it all the time, like around me at work, you know, in my car. But I say, hey, we don't do that in my car.
Yeah.
And so I quit that again, hopefully for the last time, December 7th of this, you know, 2025. And it's, you know, that's so when we talk about like those fuck it moments, that struggle, it's everything it's every day. It's everything. It's, do I need to eat, more than I should, even though I feel like I'm good? Do I need to eat more? Do I need to keep vaping even though like I know it's not good for me and, I don't really need it? Do I need to keep vaping? Or, do I need to work more hours just because they're available? It's moderation for me is what I'm powerless over. And so I try to be mindful of that. And, I look at what I'm doing and am I doing it in moderation or am I just doing it in excess? Am I trying to escape something? Food is a big one. It's everybody's got to eat. So some people don't struggle with that. I struggle with that. I struggle with wanting to eat past the point of being full. So
just kind of trying to fill that void with whatever it is.
Yeah. Filling the void for me today really is being around other addicts, is sharing my story about my journey, about my happiness, my love, my peace, what I found, because it doesn't have to be miserable. It was miserable for so long, and I think happiness is the part where it changes you when you allow yourself to be happy. People talk about fake it till you make it. That meant something different to me years ago when I first got in recovery. It meant something different to me. Today it means I might not be happy, but I'm going to tell myself I'm happy. I'm going to tell myself I'm grateful. I may not know that I'm super grateful for something, but I'm going to tell myself I'm grateful. I'm going to tell myself I'm unhappy. And today I am happy. Today I am grateful. I woke up. I got to go to work. I got some gifts from my job because it was Employee Appreciation Day. I get to do this cool podcast with you. I get to learn a little bit every day. So I'm grateful for that.
That's amazing.
And that makes me happy.
Yes. I love that. There's so much joy in recovery.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So just one last thing that I want you to be able to share. I know you've been posting some content out there and really trying to encourage others that are struggling. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how people can find you? Okay.
So I've got TikTok and I've got YouTube and I've got Facebook. I just, real quick, why I started it was because I was having this calling, like, hey, I need to reach people. I need to tell people that, life can be different, that it's a possibility, even a little bit of a possibility, but it can be different, and I thought that, it was going and getting a job at the jail, but they denied me. I have a background. That's fine. So I kept praying about it. And then, one of my younger kids, he said, Dad, you should be a YouTuber. So I kind of was like, okay, well, maybe I'll do that. And so, it took a lot of courage to get on the camera the first time, because I'm going to judge myself more than other people will judge me. It took a lot of courage. So finally I just, I decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit to this. And so I've been posting videos every day now for the last 2 months. It's just real stuff that, I think everybody struggles with, that I share about. They're just, 1 to 2 minute clips. I'm hopefully going to expand more, and I want to, work with other people. They can work with me through YouTube, Facebook, or even TikTok, or, we can work together one-on-one. I just want to work with people and kind of help them, coach them, if you will, to recovery. I mean, their recovery is not going to look like mine, and my recovery is not going to look like theirs. It's the road that, I'm on is different than the road you're on, but, our journey can be the same, is the way I see it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Well, I know we're going to link, put some of those links into this episode so people know how to find your clips and can start following you and engaging with you on that side. I think every time that we can make connections with people who are in the same space or are where we want to be, those connections are really important. So I appreciate you being here and sharing your story and giving people hope that despite where they've been through all throughout childhood and how bad things appeared to be, that there is hope on the other side and there are people out there to support you to find a different way. Yeah. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you,
Jill. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Yeah.